Hello, this is Yuriy Margolin with Let's Talk Moving podcast with moving sales professionals. And with me today, I got a real treat. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this guy. So today with me, I have Wade Swikle, CEO of Two College Brothers Brands, Moving and Storage and Franchising. How you doing today, Wade?
I'm doing great. How are you, Yuri?
Good, good, good. Working hard here. Obviously, we have a lot of things going on this year. So we have a lot of things to talk about today. So obviously, you are the co-founder of Moving Titans Retreats. So talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, so the Moving Titan Retreats kind of spun off of the podcast and the Facebook groups and stuff that are out there. Basically, there wasn't up until like the Lewis Massaro stuff started coming along, and I don't know 5 or 6 years ago, there weren't a lot of resources for moving company owners to reach each other, to contact each other, to get together. Then we started to see some of the conferences come up. We saw the Facebook groups pop up. And a lot of people started to connect. And so my business partner and a friend of mine who also owns a moving company, Chad Coatney, he lives about an hour and a half away, runs in a parallel market to us, close enough to be friends, far enough to not be enemies. We got together and we said, how cool would it be to bring together all these guests that we had on the podcast, all these different people that are in all the Facebook groups that we've met at these conferences, for like basically a 3-day mastermind retreat. And we had been to similar stuff in the past. The first thing that I ever went to back in like 2019 was strictly business. It was like 10 hours of business all day. And by the time we were done with it, it was, exhausting. And we
Yeah,
kind of
sounds like that.
went to sleep. The second one we went to kind of turned into a glorified bachelor party. We started off talking a little bit about business, and then just became a big weekend long pool party, where we still talked moving the whole time, but it just didn't have that structure. So Chad and I were talking, and we're like, well, let's try to combine these two elements. Let's make it a big chunk of business, but let's also have a lot of fun doing it. And that's how Moving Titan Retreats were born. We actually just got done having, I believe it was our sixth retreat last week in Tampa, and we've got our next one coming up in September. And we're going to do the format of this next one a little bit differently. We're actually getting a block of rooms at a resort and making it all inclusive, at a resort that's real close to the Tampa airport. It's right on the water. It's like on like 34 acres or some big piece of property where there's fishing, biking, a beautiful pool. We're going to rent out a conference room during the day to do our business development stuff, and then we're going to have good dinners and have fun at night. And it is all inclusive, so all food and drinks will be provided. And if you want to learn more about that, just reach out to us at moving or info at movingtitanretreat.com, or you can always message me on my social media, Facebook or Instagram, at Wade Swikle, and happy to tell you a little bit more about that.
Sure, sure. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that as well. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll make an appearance. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, come on down.
Who knows? We'll see what happens. But so the other thing too, so you're also hosting Grow Your Moving Company podcast, which you
Yep.
haven't had me on yet. So
Yeah, we
how's
got to
that
get you
coming
on there.
along? How did that come about? Obviously, I got my thing started, but you were up and running a little bit before I got this thing off. So how's that
Yeah,
going?
so I mean, I started my moving company officially. I was kind of doing some under the table stuff and working for some other companies before I got started as a college student, but officially started my moving company in 2012. And for like the first 5 to really 8 years, I really was trying to figure out the industry. I pivoted a few times. We started off thinking we were only going to hire college students and only move college students. And then we realized we couldn't only move college students, we had to move all kinds of people. I did a lot of trial and error, but I couldn't, I was still struggling to figure out like what the secrets of these big companies that had been really successful were. And so I started picking up the phone and calling other people and other moving company owners that had been doing, what I wanted to do and had cool brands. And I had really good conversations. So I was like, this information needs to be out there. So that's kind of what led to the podcast. Basically, I would reach out to these people and ask if I could record the conversations and put it out on the internet. And a lot of people were super generous and willing to do that. And so that's how the Grow Your Moving podcast was born, and it's really helped me grow. Just as much as I think it's helped a lot of other people who listen to the stories and listen to the the methods and the techniques and the roadblocks and the struggles of the day to day of a moving company owner. That's really been how I've sought out mentorship, was through the Grow Your Moving Company podcast. And I believe today it is currently the longest running active moving company podcast specific to the moving industry. I think our first episode aired in like 2017 or something like that. So
No, that's
it's been a
cool.
lot of fun.
I didn't realize you've been running it for that long. I mean, I'm fresh. I'm like what, 6 months in? Yeah, that's actually about right.
Yeah.
6 months in.
And I mean, I've listened to some of your episodes. You're doing a great job with it. And there
I
needs to be
appreciate
more
that.
stuff
Thank you.
there needs to be more stuff like this out there, because when I started off, there was nothing. And I just want to be able to help other people. And I didn't really have a goal with it in the beginning. I just figured it would open up opportunities, whatever those may be, as I went, if I just stayed consistent. And, I've traditionally treated it as just a little side hobby. And, so there would be periods where I'd be really consistent for, putting out a podcast once a week, and then I'd get busy. And then, sometimes there'd be some downtime in between episodes. But this year, I really made it a goal to get out a podcast once a week. I have a goal to get 52 episodes out. So
Yeah,
basically,
that's. And now for a quick message from our sponsors. For limited time only, we have partnered with an SEO and marketing company with discounted rates for their services. Schedule an appointment via Calendly link below to learn more. Thank you. And now getting back to the podcast. Yeah, that's basically where we are. Because, I mean, this was never meant as a hobby. It was meant as, look, we were going through the market that we were going. It's like we were thinking, okay, well, what can we do to get the name out? Plus, also, realistically, guys, you listen to this, you get to know that I'm not just some weird guy that does this. I actually know what I'm talking about, and I'm getting people on that know what they're talking about. And it's more about really, really getting, helping people that are starting out in the industry. It's also about having people that are already in the industry and see if, there's good things out there for everybody, really, because I'm trying to get for my podcast specifically, my goal is to get everybody involved, whether it's moving related or maybe it's something that you're just listening to, just a very crafty businessman that has some advice that would help a moving company owner with something maybe they haven't thought about. Like, for example, we just recently had a guy from Move for Hunger, and I think that that's a absolutely wonderful charity, and I think that all the moving companies should jump in on that, because that's also I mean, it's a way for us to differentiate from the competition on one side, but on the other side, it's also a way to make this world a better place. So why not? I think the more we do that, especially because something like that is not really something that's going to cost you a lot, but it's going to leave a good footprint, leave a good mark on the world that we're living in, and on this industry in general. Just, not just about making the money, but also about, helping people.
yeah, absolutely. And the more people you help grow their business, the more people are going to help you grow your business. It's really that golden rule approach. Do unto others, and it's opened up a ton of opportunities. Obviously, we just talked about the retreats. It's kind of led to that formation of a really cool mastermind group. We've actually recruited our first franchise from a listener of the podcast that then came to a retreat and then ended up converting to a franchise. So,
Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So basically, my goal from day one was to franchise, and Two College Brothers has actually been around for 13 years now. Like I said, I've been in business since 2012. If you know my story, I acquired Two College Brothers in 2013. Decided to use that brand because they had been around a little bit longer, had a bigger customer base, and I thought it was a franchisable brand. But it still took me, basically 10 years to get the right legal documentation in place, and really to fine tune our system and perfect the model to a point where I felt confident selling that model to people who are potentially going to invest their life savings in 10 to 20 years or longer, of their career, or at least a business opportunity into that model. I didn't want to rush into it where we put out a subpar system and process and infrastructure. I wanted to make sure that we had all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted, and that we really could provide a unique opportunity to allow moving company owners to make more than what they could make on their own. And with the brand leverage that we're able to provide, from purchasing power to search engine optimization to negotiating with our suppliers, to getting exclusive deals and rates and opportunities for them, to the back end support. We we have a virtual sales center to where we can help them book moves so that they're not missing calls just internally within our organization. We're not doing it for other moving companies like you do, but we also have a customer service center where we have our chief of raving fans oversee claims, oversee customer service issues, so that we can provide a really consistent customer service experience, but for all franchisees, so you don't have one franchisee that's making the other ones look bad. But B, it takes that off the plate of the moving company owner. That's one of the biggest headaches of running a moving company, is dealing with the claims and the irrational customers.
Oh, yeah. And now for a quick message from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com to learn more. Claims, sales, all that stuff. I mean, ultimately, that's what we do. I mean, we're not a moving company. We're a call center. So that's what we do, is just focus on the sales.
Right.
So this is, this platform is basically allowing us to get our name out there, obviously. But as you guys, those of you that listen to multiple episodes, we don't make that strong of a push of our brand per se. We're here, you see it, you hear the conversations that we're having. But the goal is this is not designed to promote us, other than showing that we have the knowledge.
Sure.
That's more so than anything else. As far as everything else, obviously you guys can call me and contact me if you want to talk about it.
Absolutely. And we've also spent a lot of time documenting every single system and process that we can think of. And as new situations arise, we immediately document them in an online training portal where you can train and streamline the hiring of everybody from your movers to your drivers, all the way up to your management, because we want our owners to basically be hands off. We want them to be able to go work on their business instead of in it. And
Right.
part of that is being able to recruit and train a good team and follow a consistent process. And so that's another benefit that a Two College Brothers franchise gives you. And then just the support, the one-on-one working with me and my team and other franchisees. We want to apply that mastermind concept that we have with the Moving Titan Retreat to our franchise business eventually, once we have enough franchises, to where we're getting everybody together. Everybody's on, a text thread. We can all talk to each other about problems. If we have loads going to one city, we can get help over there. If we need help, because we're overbooked, we can help our, somebody else can come and bail them out.
Right. You guys are doing that with franchise. It's just, with those are people that are part of your network, so to speak. And that's the same thing I'm doing with people that are my network. So all my clients, they're located all over the country, from Washington State all the way down to Florida. We're all over the place at this point. UK as well, Canada. We're working on that, but we're the same thing. When you get to a certain city, you don't want to go back empty. We hook you up with one of our clients that's in that city, and you don't go back empty. You come back with a load. That's certainly something that we work hard on as well. But I think it's important to have network, whether you're, in my case, it's my clients that we do sales for. In your case, it's your franchises that you're working with. And I think it's important to create that level of trust, that network where you know that everybody's doing a good job. Everybody has the same goal in place. One place is not going to screw another. You're going to basically, it's all about building that level of trust and level of service that's got to be there for your clients, and obviously help you grow and help the companies that you associate yourself with grow. It's extremely important. It's not like, it is building a brand. It's all about building a brand, because at the end of the day, it's you. That's something. I mean, you have big companies like Gentle Giant or Mayflower or whatever, and I think both you and I talked to the CEO of Gentle Giant, and so he's wonderful man. And it's like, I think it's extremely important to create that level of trust between the people that you associate with, and just in general, people that have the same goal of building something for themselves, for their family, for the community, whatever the case may be. It's extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're very confident in our marketing strategy. We manage the back end digital side of things, from SEO to social media retargeting. All that stuff is done for you, so you don't have to be an expert in that or go find a vendor to do that. We've vetted a lot of vendors over the years and found, I think, what I think is are the best. And so we offer. We're the only really franchise that I've ever heard of that offers this, but we have $1 million guarantee, which basically means in your first 3 years of business, if you follow our systems and process and strategy, you'll get to $1 million in annual gross revenue, or we'll refund your franchise fee and let you walk. And we do have conversion franchise for existing moving company owners, where there, if you qualify, you could totally waive the franchise fee. There could be absolutely no upfront out of pocket cost aside for the cost to rebrand, to work with us. And we want to see $5 to $10 million companies. We have huge territories. We're giving people their entire city as their territory, unlike most moving company franchises or franchises in general that subdivide out cities. Some people would call that a master territory. But that's what we think every moving company should have. You shouldn't be competing against your own brand in your own city. You should
Right.
be dominating your whole entire city. And I think that's the
Yeah,
best way to get
yeah,
to
you
that.
got enough competition as it is, so why compete with yourself?
Exactly. So, yeah. So, I'm really excited about the franchises. It's going to help all of our current locations grow as we add more. We're focused mostly on Florida and the Southeast right now, because that'll just help everybody. That'll help out me support you better as a franchisee, but also there's trucks going around to all these different cities in the Southeast. So frequently they're moving billboards. So if we have 10 locations with 10 trucks, that's 100 trucks going around one state. And that's automatically going to lift the brand awareness. We already have a
Hmm.
customer base of over 15,000 people that we've moved around Florida that we can remarket to, and we can find, using AI and social media, retarget lookalike customers that look like our previous customers based on their online activity. It's kind of creepy, like some of the stuff you can do now with marketing, but it's all to the benefit of us as part of this organization. So, yeah, so I'm super excited about the next 5 to 10 years. I think we're going to knock it out of the park, and our vision is to become the biggest franchise in the entire country. I think we've got the system and we've got the momentum, and we're trying to top those big guys that have been around for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch, and of course, Wade was one of our clients before, so of course, those services, if you ever need any help in that regard, are always open to you. You got my number. You can always call me. We can always talk about doing something again. But
Absolutely.
but overall, yeah, that's awesome. I like to see different things, and I like to see improvement in business. I'm certainly, a first time business owner. I don't know if you'd call the podcast the second or just part of the whole picture overall, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool to come out with creative ideas and things, and definitely I learned a lot from every single one of my guests. So I think it's a huge thing that you learn about the industry. And I mean, I've been in the industry for over 20 years at this point, between sales and moving, so I've been around for a long time at this point. But yeah, no, it's awesome. The other thing, because some people obviously know you, but there's going to be some people that don't. So, how did you get into the moving first time? You were saying that you were the original idea. You were trying to move college kids moving college kids, but that then you need to go farther. But how did
Yeah,
you get there in the first place?
I think it was like my story is similar to a lot of people in that, I've noticed from my podcast and just meeting a lot of moving companies, there's this new wave of moving company owner that started from like 2008 to 2012. Obviously we had a big recession in 2008, and people were out of work. They were trying to find stuff to do. Some big giant moving companies like Grable went under, and it opened up the door, for opportunities. There's also a huge shift from the yellow pages online to online. And you
Hmm.
used to just be able to put a full page spread in the yellow pages and your phone would ring off the hook, and nobody could leave you a bad review. So it didn't matter what the level of service was. And that all changed when things went online. The yellow pages went away for the most part. And now the reputation and the service is so important. And you've got this younger generation of moving company owners that are really taking over the industry. And so basically how I started, I needed a job. I was in college. I played some college baseball. Obviously, my career fizzled out, unfortunately, like it does for most athletes. But I needed to find some work, and I knew I wanted to go into business for myself. Had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't have any money. I had like $600 in a pickup truck. And so I just started posting on ads on Craigslist to use my athletic physique, I guess you could call it, and my pickup truck to just do some physical work. I hated sitting at a desk. Hated, just doing that kind of stuff. And it's ironic because I don't go out on the trucks anymore, but I loved going out, and helping people relocate. You got to see a different city every single day, or a different job site every single day, I should say. You got a physical workout in. You got to meet a lot of cool people that a lot of times fed you lunch, gave you tips. It was paid pretty well. Even back then, I worked briefly for another moving company and made $15 an hour, which 10 years ago was a good amount of money. I mean, minimum wage was
Yeah.
like $7 in Florida. So that was cool, and it was a flexible schedule. Like I said, I was posting ads on Craigslist, just offering my labor services, the use of my pickup truck. Had another moving company reach out and basically said that I was operating as a rogue moving company, as just a college kid running a pickup truck, which I thought was funny. But he actually invited me to come and work for him. And so I helped out with his company for a little bit, and he paid me the same thing I was charging my customers, $15 an hour. And then just kind of that entrepreneurial fire just got kind of lit, and my wheels got turning. And I thought, hey, how could I turn this into a real business? And the summer of 2011, I was 21 years old. Or let's see, I guess it was the summer of 2012. I was still 21. I have a late birthday. I started looking into how to get a license and insurance, and I got a trailer for the truck, and I'd rent Penske trucks, and over time started acquiring trucks and ended up buying out my biggest competitor, which was Two College Brothers. Now we compete against that other company up in Gainesville. Our franchisee up in Gainesville now competes against him. And Yeah, it just kind of snowballed. We opened our Tampa location in 2015, moved our headquarters down there in 2020, and by then I felt really confident from doing the Louis Massaro stuff, and had been doing the podcast and getting the mentorship for a while, and basically got into the storage business and started to learn that. And then by 2022, we finally felt we were ready to franchise, and met with a franchise attorney, had our franchise disclosure documents drawn up, and basically created that system and that entity. And now our two locations are seeing 50 to 80% year over year growth right now, and they're essentially growing by themselves, which is allowing me to work on the franchise side of the business at this point in time. Kind of humble beginnings, $600 in a pickup truck, just
Yeah.
looking for work, and enjoyed the work, and I could get my friends to do it too. And my brother actually also worked for me, so the Two College Brothers kind of still had a play. My fraternity brothers worked for me. There was a point in time where like half my fraternity were my movers. When I was a student, and that was kind of cool because I was like the dawn of the fraternity almost, which is kind
That's
of
awesome.
funny. And I still stay in touch with a bunch of those guys today, but they all do different things now.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
no, it's not been easy. The first 8 years were a struggle. I made just about every mistake I could. And that's
Yeah, the unfortunate part is that most of us don't learn from other people's mistakes. So like the best learning you do is from the ones from the ones that you get yourself. Unfortunately, you people
exactly.
that can learn from other people's mistakes are the lucky ones.
Exactly. And I just made it a mission to, there were a lot of times when I thought about quitting, but I was like, no, I was like, I couldn't do it, because I was like, there's a way to do this. There's other people that do it.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out the way to do it like they're doing it. And through the mentorship, through the business books, through the podcasts, through the conferences and the seminars, I mean, probably spent six figures just trying to educate myself. Probably spent more money educating myself after college than I spent in college, and learned a heck of a lot more about life and business that way. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
like to tell
definitely
my
didn't start using my college education until I opened up this company. So,
yeah, yeah.
which was what quite
I
a few
like
years later.
I like to tell everybody that I've made all the mistakes so that you don't have to, and I don't know everything about this industry still. I mean, I'm still learning, like you said, every day. And I think anybody who tells you they know everything is either full of themselves or they're just trying to sell you something. And
Right.
I learn something new every single day, not only from other moving company owners, but from my own team, from my own experiences, and we try to document those and consistently continue to improve our product and our services and our
Sure.
systems.
Sure. I mean, I certainly know the moving kitchen, but I definitely can't say that I know everything about it.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
likewise.
I'm good at adjusting.
I
I'm good
like to
at
think
being on my toes.
they say, what does it take, 10,000 hours to be an expert at something? I like to think that probably you and I are both experts at this, but that doesn't mean we
Know
are
everything,
all
right?
knowing.
There's no such thing. I think I forget who it was, if this was Aristotle or Socrates, but one of them said that I know that I don't know everything.
Yep, exactly. And now I'm learning all these new things about the franchise industry, which is a whole new business. I still don't know what I don't know, but I'm learning new things every single day, reading books in that industry, listening to podcasts in that industry, talking to other
Awesome.
franchisees. So yeah, we'll get there too. But
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate your time. And as I always say, as the world moves on its own, let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you for
Love it.
joining us. Thank you for your time, Wade. And we'll have you on at some point again. And for those of you listening, keep tuning in. Check out, we're going to have some links at the bottom of this podcast. Check out franchising opportunities with Two College Brothers. And once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk soon, Yuri. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.